𝗃𝗲𝗂𝗊.
Cool!
Hey everyone, it's 𝗃𝗲𝗀𝗃, and today I am back with another Sonic the Hedgehog update video. Yes, another return to our blue Lord and Savior. I know I've been missing in action with Sonic for a hot minute, but you can chalk it up to not only me needing to satisfy my Mario movie brain rot with that giant review video I did, which by the way, watch it if you haven't, but also my usual busy life. But today's video is going to be one where I cover an assortment of random Sonic news, and by that I mean news that I actually want to catch up on and give my thoughts towards, while also giving an idea as to where I am with the Sonic series right now. Which on that note, it's about time I address the major elephant in the room when it comes to my Sonic coverage, which is my lack of coverage for the release of Sonic Frontiers and all of the news surrounding it, such as its DLC. Like, it doesn't really add up, right? I made all of those videos talking about this game and really analyzing it, only for me to straight up go completely silent on it by release. Sonic Frontiers is probably the most uninvolved I've ever been with a Sonic game's actual release period. And there clearly has to be an explanation for this, right? Well, there is one, but it's not going to be one many of you will like, or even understand. Though, given the nature of my videos that covered Sonic Frontiers, it really shouldn't be surprising. So basically, I did not cover Sonic Frontiers because I had low motivation to buy and play it. And is this really shocking for you all? I was just so unhappy with what I was hearing about the game as we got closer to it. And while I heard some decent things from the release period of the game, there were a lot of things I heard about the final game state that turned me off completely. Now, I could have just powered through all of that and bought it anyway, like with Sonic Forces, but I didn't want to do that, because it's a waste of my time and money to try and get into a game I just didn't feel this hype for. So I decided that, in the end, the day I cover Sonic Frontiers is the day I truly feel ready and motivated to do so. And keep in mind, I don't consider Sonic Frontiers a bad game. I don't think I have a right to completely dismiss it, given that, I haven't played it yet. But I think it's fair that I've put it off based on information about it that ended up lining up with some of my worst Sonic series pet peeves. It's less of a headache to wait for the next game and see if it appeals to me more, than do something like try to weasel into it. I've even gotten offers to play Sonic Frontiers through friends buying it for me, but when it comes to Sonic, it should not have to be this way. Sonic as a series means too much to me for it to become this series that I feel like I have to force myself to play. So thus, it is why I haven't played Frontiers up until this point. Again, I have had opportunities to do so, but now isn't the time for me. And I'm sure there's quite a few of you who really like Sonic, and specifically Frontiers, that didn't want to hear me trash talk it anyway. So if anything, I'm saving me, and some certain detractors out there, a lot of energy. But hey, who knows? I could be playing this game the next day of this video for all we know, and cooking up a review that expresses nothing but pure joy for it even. But I wouldn't bet on it, considering there's so much other stuff I would rather catch up on. Anyway, I hope that made things clear for y'all, and I apologize if it wasn't a satisfying answer, but that's just how I feel. So since I've made it clear I'm walking past Frontiers for the time of being, let's look into how Sonic's future is shaping up in other areas. And in some of these areas, it's definitely interesting to say the least. keeping with the video game talk, the next Sonic game project we know about right now is Sonic Origins Plus, which yeah, Sonic Origins is getting a sort of definitive version that features more games through Game Gear Sonic games, a playable Knuckles and Sonic CD, and most interesting to me, a playable Amy Rose, which finally, it's really nice to see Amy get another chance in the Sonic games again, as outside something like Sonic Boom, it feels like Sega has really shafted her a lot in recent years. But outside of it being nice to see playable Amy again, I can't bring myself to be too excited for this. Because for starters, this is a weird announcement, given the state of how Sonic Origins launched. It was ridiculous to see Sega charging that much for the same Genesis games, while the collection was in a semi-butchered state due to stuff like the Sonic free music changes, the stupid DLC charts, and etc. Now this isn't exactly a completely new thing for Sega, because a similar thing happened with Sonic Mega Collection and Sonic Mega Collection Plus, both game collections being only a year apart, just like these game collections are. But again, this is 2023. The novelty of these Genesis Sonic games is overvalued, and throwing in those mid-Game Gear games and even playable Amy doesn't change that fact to me. But if you aren't interested in this for whatever reason, sure, go ahead and buy. More power to you. There's definitely worse deals to be had out there. But I don't know, man. That money is better spent on other things. Next, let's talk about the rumors around a potential new 2D Sonic game. Because for a while now, there have been rumors of a 2D Sonic to follow up on this recent 3D Sonic game. Which makes sense, because it's been so long since Sonic Mania, and there were zero signs of a sequel to that game anywhere throughout the last few years. A rumor claims that the reason there was not a sequel for Mania was due to a falling out between the Mania team and Sega. And while many Sonic fans have chalked that up to dumb rumors, let's be honest with ourselves, that joint is probably true. If we were getting a sequel to Mania, we would have gotten one by now. And Christian Whitehead's team moving on to their own project, while the few remaining members like Stealth still have to deal with BS like the Sonic Origins mess, it pretty much makes it clear that Sega screwed up and burned that bridge, as usual. And as I said, because of that, and Sega's rough track record with 2D control for years now, it puts Sonic in a rough position when it comes to his 2D games. Now the rumors state that this next one could still be on the Mania engine due to Sega still having full access to it, but it could be developed by Dimps and lean into being a modern 2D Sonic game. And I know I said that I wouldn't have minded if Classic Sonic remained in his own 2D Sonic sub-series, but I would honestly be glad to be rid of him and just get another proper modern 2D game, like the Sonic Advance games or the Sonic Rush games. Basically, my hopes for the next 2D Sonic is that it actually moves the series forward, using things from the modern Sonic games like its unique gameplay mechanics, story beats, and characters, while also still playing as good as a game like Sonic Mania. Because as much as I like Mania, its reliance on nostalgia and the heavy Classic Sonic branding has exhausted me on Classic Sonic, and I am just ready for a fresh, new 2D Sonic game that actually feels new. I just pray that this game doesn't end up as another Sonic 4, where it does use modern Sonic design elements, but still relies hard on the overused Genesis Zone elements and plays like absolute trash in gameplay. Please, Sega, don't let me down that badly again. Alright, so we covered the major game-related Sonic news. So now let's look into how the world of the Sonic movies is going. And for a while, I was getting pretty skeptical because things were pretty dang quiet on that front, especially as the Mario movie was casually pulling up and stealing the #1 video game movie throne spot with little effort. So while I figured maybe Sonic Movie 3 was moving along, but just with some road bumps, the 𝗃𝗄𝗃 the Echidna show was not looking good, as we did not hear a crumb of an update on it. That was until we got a tweet drop that confirmed that it is indeed still a thing. And that same tweet gave us some information that paints us a rough idea on what this show is going to be like. Now, going off of the teaser image, I actually was a little hyped, because yeah, my expectations were low, as I explained in a previous video, but seeing them actually acknowledge 𝗃𝗄𝗃's hat from the Sonic OVA was such an insane deep cut reference. So it gave me hope that this show was actually going to be pretty lit possibly. But I should have known that hype wasn't gonna last long, because then we got the plot synopsis of the show, which is that it's going to center around 𝗃𝗄𝗃's training and partnering with 𝗿𝗿𝗲 from the Sonic movies. You know 𝗿𝗿𝗲, right? The Nothing Burger cop character who clearly is a fan favorite, right? Yeah, this plot summary fit more with what I actually expected from this show. But of course, because it's Sonic, there are people defending this. And as much as I want to go into full Clown Town mode, I won't waste my time. And we'll just wait for the trailer. Because maybe there is some deeper plot to this series that'll make it worth watching, and 𝗿𝗏 will just kind of be there as a sort of easy comic relief. But if this series is legitimately just 𝗃𝗄𝗃s and 𝗿𝗏 goofing off for most of it, it is nothing but painfully wasted potential. And my only words from there is that 𝗃𝗄𝗃s as a character deserves better, man. But we'll see how this series turns out. And I also hope we hear more on how Sonic Movie 3 is going soon as well, because I'm especially interested in how Movie 3 will go after the Mario movie, because I pray they took some notes in a few areas, especially when it comes to music. And again, I pray they don't screw up Shadow as a character. Please. But alright, with that, we get into our final Sonic news topic for today, which is probably the most bizarre, but yet potentially biggest news story yet, which is that Sega as a company has bought Rovio, the creators of Angry Birds, for $775 million, nearly $1 billion. And this was probably the most shocking and absolutely confusing thing I have ever seen from Sega. Because if I have to be brutally honest with y'all, nothing about this purchase and partnership makes any sense. First of all, why on earth is Sega spending nearly $1 billion on a mobile developer to a series that barely has any relevance anymore? Now, in terms of legacy, it's weird to say, but Angry Birds is one of the most influential games of all time, because it is the game that pioneered the current climate of how the mobile game market is. But in terms of its lasting popularity, I am really failing to see how this studio benefits Sega. After its peak popularity to where it got movies and stuff, Angry Birds really fell off from the general consensus in favor of other mobile games. And it especially didn't help that Rovio was struggling to keep several Angry Bird games up due to copyright issues, something Sega themselves have struggled with. So it's weird that Sega looked at this studio and figured this one could become a key piece to their company. It just does not make any sense to me. The next question that came to my mind is, where in the heck did Sega get close to $1 billion to throw out casually like this? Like, I don't think some of you understand how big that number is. Given Sega's track record of various failures across the Sonic series, some of their other series, and their whole company, I figured they ain't exactly a company on Nintendo's level of bank. But apparently I'm wrong, because they just been sitting on this much the entire time, which just does not add up. This feels shady as hell to me. But that brings me to my biggest question yet, and what really brings me nothing but absolute fury. Where the hell has this money been for Sonic Team and their other developer teams all along? 4 years. 4 years. We have had to hear Sonic Team and some of their other teams give sob stories about how they don't have as big budgets as they used to, so they have to do stuff like reuse assets and can't do big ambitious 3D games often, etc. Excuses out the wazoo. But all of that just went down the drain because Sega Sammy just threw out almost $1 billion for Angry Birds. So they could have been properly giving these teams what they needed in terms of budget, hiring more manpower, and etc. this whole time, but they just didn't. They just didn't. Because, well, durr. Oh my god. Unfreaking believable. I'm sitting here losing my mind trying to process what is holding Sega back. And I now learned that money clearly isn't one of the problems. It's amazing. So whenever I hear fans say something like, a fully 3D Sonic game would cost too much. No. A new Jet Set radio is too risky and expensive. No. Like, we're really reaching a point where there is no excuse for their mediocrity anymore. There is just none. Zilch. Nothing. So if Sega screws up in a major way again next time, I want you guys to keep that in mind. That's all I'm going to say. But with that, I'm going to end today's video so that I can keep my grasp on sanity. Maybe Sega risking so much money on the Angry Birds developers is a part of some master plan that I'm not seeing, and the future of both Sonic and Sega is brighter than ever. But I don't know, man. I'm just lost. When it comes to Sega and Sonic right now, I am very lost. You'd probably think my current thoughts on Sonic are as bad as in some of my last videos. But really, I don't know how to feel about Sonic right now. I don't have the same hatred for Sonic Frontiers like I did Sonic Forces, but yet something about it bothers me to where I haven't played it yet. And besides hoping Sonic Movie 3 turns out decent, I just don't have the energy for anything else happening in Sonic right now. Between mid Sonic Prime, the decent enough Sonic movies, and Sonic Frontiers, Sonic feels so weird right now to me. Every project has different voice actors, different tones, and just different energies between each other. And Sonic just doesn't have the same consistent energy and stable quality that I feel like some other gaming series have to me. So it's really making me feel weird with it lately. And that's all I can say. It's hard to put into words. But okay, I think I've rambled more than enough. So I am done for today. If you've made it to this point of the video, thank you for watching all the way until the end. you guys know how it goes by now. Give me your thoughts on today's subjects, your takes on how I felt about each subject, and all of that. Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new to it, and follow my additional social media such as my Twitter for more content and updates. This has been 𝗃𝗂𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗀, and I'm out. Peace.